Does God want a separation of church and state? Should Christians be voting biblical principles? Does it really matter who you vote for? Join Pastor Jerry Cook as he endeavors to answer these and many other questions over the next hour on Politics in the Pulpit. And now, Pastor Jerry Cook.
Good afternoon and welcome to Politics in the Pulpit here on your hometown station. This is your holy host, the Bishop of Santa Clarita, back for another opportunity to talk about the two things we're not supposed to talk about in public: religion and politics, and yes, they indeed do mix. I've got a quick PA announcement for everyone out there listening in Radioland. Vote no on Prop 50. How about that? Any way you want to get involved this weekend, there are several things you can do to get involved in this whole Prop 50 shenanigan that Governor Newsom is attempting to foist upon the people of California. You can get involved this coming Friday by standing on the corner of McBean and Valencia. That's kind of our de facto protest corner, if you will, for both sides. And so between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock this coming Friday, there'll be many California patriots on that corner encouraging folks that are driving by to vote no on Prop 50. And then this Saturday, get out the vote with Senator Valadares and other community leaders as we walk the neighborhoods. You'll need to RSVP for this event. You can check out Freedom Fighters on Facebook of SCV, Freedom Fighters of SCV, and you can RSVP for that event. And then there's also Patriots at the Park this coming Sunday, 2 to 4. You can find that on Facebook as well. And love to see you at any one of those events. Our guest today on Politics in the Pulpit is Sheriff Alex Villanueva. And Sheriff Villanueva was the 33rd Sheriff of Los Angeles and is wanting to be the 35th Sheriff of Los Angeles. Sheriff, welcome to Politics and the Pulpit.
Oh, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Sheriff, you were recently with a pastor friend of mine, Pastor Brian Dunlop, in Laverne a couple of weeks ago for their Law Enforcement Appreciation Day. I was wondering how that event went.
Oh, that was a wonderful event. Big turnout of people there at the Lighthouse Baptist Church, and very well received. And kudos to him and his group there for they're really throwing out the red carpet for first responders.
Well, I got to give kudos to Pastor Brian and his team out there because they got me in contact with your team, and so we're glad to have you on today. Let's get into it, sir. You were a Democrat, especially as you were sheriff of our county. Now you identify as a Republican, and we say welcome to the family, sir. Although the sheriff's race is nonpartisan, what was your thinking, Sheriff, as you made that switch?
Well, as Ronald Reagan famously said decades ago, I didn't leave the party left me. I signed up as a Democrat 44 years ago when it was still the party of John F. Kennedy. And those days are long since gone. And I said when I made the switch back in May that I'm leaving the party of paid protest, purple hair and pronouns, and joining the party of family, faith, and freedom.
I was actually there at that town hall event. I think it was the Inland Empire town hall with Jen Horn and some of that group. And so we were glad to hear you announce that, sir. If you had to grade Sheriff Robert Luna right now, what would your letter grade be?
Well, I think the range of letter grades goes from A through F.
Yes.
And I don't know if we can ascribe like a Q or an R to it. Because it's been atrocious since day one. Every single thing he's done has harmed public safety and has consolidated the Board of Supervisors' control over the Sheriff's Department. Virtually every single decision. And an F would be artificially inflated grade for him.
Yeah. And your thoughts about the many times the current sheriff has thrown his men under the bus for various reasons, as well as some of the unfortunate suicide rates that have occurred and under his tenure. Your thoughts about that, sir?
Well, death seems to follow this man everywhere he goes. Well, let's start with the 19 people that burned to death in Altadena for lack of evacuations. He was responsible for the evacuations or lack thereof. No one else but the sheriff is responsible for that. Fire departments fight fire. The sheriff's department does evacuations, and they didn't. The deputies on the ground had to figure that out for themselves as the fire was raging. And that's one. Then you have 14 employees who committed suicide on his watch. And one of the common themes is just the sheer staggering workload the deputies are shouldering because of a mass exodus created by Luna himself. Then you have the 3 deputies that died in the explosion there at Arsenic Explosives. And one of the contributing factors, I guarantee this, when it's all said and done, is the massive workload these people face doing a dangerous job over and over again with such little rest and little relief. So death has been a calling card for Mr. Luna.
As you've been campaigning, Sheriff, what's the conversation been like with the constituency out there, and what are they saying? And are they feeling good about a transition to a Sheriff Alex as opposed to another tenure of Sheriff Robert Luna?
The response we've been getting has been overwhelmingly positive. People are saying, "Oh, thank God, please, yes." I have random people coming to me, just shaking my hand and hugging me and saying, "Oh, please, thank God, it's about time." And it's been overwhelmingly, both within the organization and outside the organization. And that is a big plus, and it also shows you how desperate people are to get out from under Luna. I don't think the department can survive 4 more years at the rate they're going. They've already lost more than a quarter of the workforce is gone.
As you know, Proposition 36, Sheriff, passed last year with almost 3/4 of the vote, which is kind of unheard of here. Nathan Hochman replaced the feckless George Gascon. Your thoughts on the state of public safety in L.A. County after the passing of Prop 36 and Nathan Hochman now taking over the DA's office? Your thoughts?
Well, we wish Nathan Hochman the best. However, he's only half of the bargain. If cops are not catching crooks, the DA has nobody to prosecute. And under Luna's first year in office, arrests by the Sheriff's Department dropped a staggering 50%. We went from 106,000 arrests in 2019, my first year on the job, to less than 57,000 on Luna's first year on the job, which was 2023. So that is directly related to the double-digit increase in Part 1 crimes, which are all the serious crimes. It does matter who's sitting in the sheriff's office.
And so you would say that obviously Nathan Hochman is a positive, definitely a step up in a major way from George Gascon. But in order for that safety to be complete, or at least more full, we need to replace Robert Luna.
Definitely, because the DA and the law enforcement work hand in hand. One does the arrest, one does the investigations, and also in the sheriff's side, we also house the criminal suspects, and then the DA is in charge of prosecuting. So both have to work hand in hand in order to provide a safety for the county of LA. And I should probably remind your listeners that Luna proudly lists George Gascon as his mentor.
Yeah.
So wrap your mind around that idea.
If you're just tuning in today on your hometown station, you are listening to Pastor Jerry Cook, and we have the privilege today to talk to Sheriff Alex Villanueva, who is running to be the 35th Sheriff of Los Angeles County. Sheriff, if you were elected next year, how would you improve public safety with the headwinds from both the LA supervisors and the city council? As you know, just yesterday, the LA supervisors voted a public declaration of emergency for the for the city of Los Angeles because of all the ICE raids. How are you going to be able to deal with those guys as sheriff?
Well, I think right now my goal as a sheriff, incoming sheriff, would be to hire, like like crazy. We got to hire 2,000 deputies in the span of 2 years just to get the department back up and running with a full staffing in order to do all the big things and get the department ready for the next emergency or the Olympics, all those things that are happening. But dealing with the Board of Supervisors, the good thing is I don't need a budget increase to hire 2,000 deputies. I just got to hire what's already been approved. But these positions are sitting vacant. The current guy in office now, he's spending $500 million. Just wrap your mind around that, too. $500 million in forced overtime where deputies have to work double shifts back-to-back to make up for the loss of all the personnel, which hits hardest in patrol and in the jails throughout the county. So overcoming that, getting the hiring up and running again, and getting people excited about becoming deputies again, that's the number one priority. It should be of any sheriff, and that is definitely going to be mine. The Board of Supervisors, they can do all the virtue signaling they want with emergency declarations and all that, but it has no impact on what the sheriff and the deputy are supposed to be doing out there keeping the community safe.
On a side note, Sheriff Alex, do you support the death penalty for extreme situations?
I'm a supporter of the death penalty. I think the tough on crime legislation from the 80s and 90s, they went overboard to the point where they rendered it unuseful because everything qualified as a death penalty. They crammed the dockets in the courts with death penalty appeals, and no one was executed. I think if they shrunk the death penalty category to only 4 categories, I think we'd see a movement in that area. And the 4 categories that you're probably going to agree with me is serial murderers, mass murderers, child killers, and cop killers. If you're not one of those 4, commute that sentence to life without and call it a day.
Your thoughts? Go ahead, sir.
And I think you'll see all of a sudden, you probably lose half of your death row population, but you'll start to see all of a sudden the resources to have all the appeals work their way through and to see executions going up again in the state of California.
Absolutely. You were speaking just a moment ago about your one of your main objectives as sheriff is recruitment and hiring new deputies. As you know, recruitment numbers are low, and people don't want to be in law enforcement for a whole host of reasons, one of which is not having the trust and the backing of the current sheriff. How would you change that culture, if you will, should you be elected next year, Sheriff Alex?
Well, I was faced with the same scenario in 2018 when I took over. The department was shrinking under Jim McDonnell. They had about 800 deputies that were missing, and I hired 1,100 deputies my first year on the job, full year, which was 2019. So by April of 2020, we got the sworn workforce back up to 10,000. And deputies, remember, your number one recruiters are your own employees. If they trust the leadership, they trust the message, they are going to recruit family, friends, neighbors, associates. And then you're going to see the flow of people starting to come back. I've already had people told me, if you win, I'm going to come back to work. I'm going to unretire myself. I'm going back to work. Heck, I had a kid from one of the beach cities say, he was a former deputy, so you know what, I'll come back to the sheriff's department if you're back in office.
Wow. Well, let's pray and hope something like that occurs. Why do you think, Sheriff, that the public trust in our elected officials, not just federally, but more specifically here locally in Los Angeles, why do you think that public trust in our elected officials is at an all-time low?
Well, in California and LA in particular, you have so many elected officials that keep getting indicted and convicted of corruption. I mean, look at the long list of names. You got Mark Ridley Thomas. You have Current Price is currently under the gun. You have Englander. You had Sleazy Weezar. All these people, you look at the city of Bell, all the ones that got indicted and convicted of corruption. And you look at the former sheriff Ali Baca and Paul Tanaka, and those that went under the, got convicted for public corruption. People are tired of corruption of public officials. Look at just what came in the news yesterday. The current CEO of the county is getting a $2 million hush money payment. And the Board of Supervisors try to disguise it. People are just sick and tired of the fighting, the incompetence, the corruption, and they see life gets worse. It gets more dangerous out there. The quality of life constantly being degraded. The homeless keeps increasing. Buildings keep going vacant. Businesses go out of business, flee the county and the state. And people want to see, hope, want to see people in public office that are there actually to do something good for the community, not just toe the party line and, play the Dem playbook. They want to see results.
If folks wanted to support you, Sheriff, or if they wanted to find out more about you, where would they go to find that?
We have a website, alexvillanueva2026.com. It's up and running, and you can log on. You can go to that website. You can donate there. You can volunteer. You can stay informed. You can share that with family and friends. You can text the website, and all the information is on there. You can also find me on social media, on Instagram and Facebook at Sheriff Villanueva33. And occasionally we do a Facebook, Instagram Live. In fact, we'll be doing one tonight at about 7:15. Haven't done one in a while, but we take direct questions from the public, and we do things that politicians don't do because they're so afraid of going unscripted, not being prepared with their lie for whatever the question may be. And we take all.
Well, Sheriff Villanueva, I want to thank you very much for calling in today on Politics in the Pulpit, and good luck to you as you run for sheriff, and hopefully we'll have you back on soon.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. You're listening to Politics in the Pulpit here on your hometown station. We were just talking to Sheriff Alex Villanueva, and we're excited about the two candidates that are running currently, and I'll say more about that other candidate here in just a bit when we come back from our break on your hometown station. All right, we're back here live on your hometown station. This is Politics and the Pulpit with your holy host, Pastor Jerry Cook. Wanted to, if you're just tuning in, we just had an opportunity to talk to Alex Villanueva running for sheriff of Los Angeles County. I think it's fair to say that I have had Oscar Martinez on this show, I think maybe 3 different times, and he's also had a couple of special broadcasts here at KHTS. I want you to know that I haven't made a choice in this race, but I know that Oscar would be a great choice as well. I remember when I was talking to David Hernandez, who we've had on the show a couple of times, David Hernandez with the Republican, Spanish Republicans, and AM 870 on Saturdays. He said that the objective would be to push Luna out during the primary. And so basically we just have the choice of Alex Villanueva or Oscar Martinez, which frankly, either one of them would be so much better than who we currently have. And so looking forward to seeing how that race plays out. And this coming Sunday, as I mentioned at the top of the hour, the Patriots in the Park activity that's happening 2 to 4 o'clock this coming Sunday. Oscar Martinez is going to be one of the speakers. The other individual that's going to be a part of that event is Elizabeth Allers. I had the privilege of meeting Elizabeth a little over a year ago. She ran for state senate, and she was also successfully elected to city council down in the Pasadena, Altadena, Monterey Park area, down in that general vicinity. And saw her at an event on Saturday. Then she attended our church services on Sunday, gave her an opportunity to talk a little bit about her run. She is going to be running for assembly against Pilar Chavo. We have not had anybody step up that was going to run, and there was, and then that individual ended up bowing out of that race, and so we just thought that Pilar would be a shoo-in, but Elizabeth Allers is going to be running for the 40th congressional, for the 40th Assembly District, and so check her out as well, Elizabeth Allers, Ahleres. I think you'll find her very interesting, or you can come out and meet her this coming Sunday at the Patriots in the Park event at 2 and 4 o'clock. And I believe it's going to be, I don't know where it's going to be, to be honest with you. And if I say it, I don't want all the lefties to start flooding into that location. The other big news from last week that has made news again this week is Katie Porterhouse. Katie Porter, of course, is trying to be your next governor. Can I just say this? I think if Katie Porter does win, we're probably going to long for the days of Gavin Newsom, because at least Gavin's semi-articulate, even though he does have a weird thing going on with his hands. I don't know what's going on with his hands. Mike, what do you think is going on with Gavin Newsom's hands when he talks?
I don't know.
Is he Italian?
What about his hair, though?
The hair's fine. I'm not. I do covet his hair, Mike, and you know why I would covet his hair.
Yeah.
but I do like his "I'm Batman" voice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Batman. He does have a little bit of an interesting quality, a graininess to his voice.
Yeah.
And I think people like that. But the fact of the matter is, Katie Porter is just an atrocious individual. And I'm not suggesting that she's unredeemable and that the Lord Jesus Christ wouldn't save her soul. All I'm saying is there are just certain people that you would not want to be stuck in a car with going across country with no radio.
Stay out of her shot.
Yeah, stay out of my blanking shot. Absolutely. We want to get that clip and play that ad nauseum here on the show. But Katie Porter had an atrocious interview last week, and I want you to listen to this, and then we're going to give you a clip of her trying to do some cleanup this week.
What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, man?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're saying.
In a general election, yes. If it is me versus a Republican, I think that I will win the people who did not vote for Trump.
What if it's you versus another Democrat?
I don't intend that to be the case.
So how do you not intend that to be the case? Are you going to ask them not to run?
No, I'm saying I'm going to build the support. I have the support already in terms of name recognition. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to do the very best I can to make sure that we get through this primary in a really strong position. But let me be clear with you. I represented Orange County. I represented a purple area. Mm-hmm. I have stood on my own 2 feet and won Republican votes before. That's not something every candidate in this race can say. If you're from a deep blue area, if you're from LA or you're from Oakland, you don't have an experience.
But you just said you don't need those Trump voters.
Well, you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't
I
think
feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand. I'm happy to answer the question as you have it written, and I'll answer it.
And we've also asked the other candidates, do you think you need any of those 40% of California voters to win? And you're saying, no, you don't.
No, I'm saying I'm going to try to win every vote I can. And what I'm saying to you is that...
Well, to those voters, okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask.
Every other candidate has answered.
I don't care.
Follow-ups.
I don't care. I want to have a pleasant, positive conversation in which you ask me about every issue on this list. And if every question you're going to make up a follow-up question, then we're never going to get there.
Ms.
And
Porter,
we're just going to circle around.
I am an investigative
I have never
reporter.
had to do this before, ever.
You've never had to have a conversation with
to end
a
an
reporter?
interview.
Okay, but every other candidate has done this.
What part of I'm me? I'm running for governor because I'm a leader. So I am going to make...
So you're not going to answer questions from reporters? Okay, why don't we go through? I will continue to ask follow-up questions because that's my job as a journalist, but I will go through and ask these, and if you don't want to answer, you don't want to answer. So nearly every legislative...
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you, and I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting is a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. And I've asked everybody the same follow-up questions.
But it seems like she wants to just pour hot potatoes on the reporter's head. Doesn't it sound like it,
Yeah.
Mike? Like she's seething. She's trying to keep her composure. She has anger issues.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, she has anger issues.
Why?
And since that interview, there was another interview that came out. Actually, it wasn't an interview. It was Katie Porter trying to do some sort of a PR announcement for electric vehicles or something like that. And they're trying to film her, and one of her spokespeople are walking in the back, and you could see her in the mirror. And it's at that point that Katie Porter explodes and then says, as me and Mike here are jokingly saying, get out of my blanking. What did she say?
Stay out of my shot.
Stay out of my shot. Stay out of my blanking shot. She has an anger issue, folks. I mean, she allegedly poured scalding hot water and potatoes on her husband's head. Thus, we'll call him Mr. Potato Head.
In front of the kids.
In front of the kids. We'll call him Mr. Potato Head. She is Mrs. Potato Head. She has one of the most... Hillary had a horrible voice. Hillary Clinton has a horrible voice. Kamala is loathsome and word salad Sally. There's no doubt about it. But Katie Porter... I just could not listen to her for she actually might drive me out of the state of California if she wins. Now, this week, obviously the blowback must have been immense because she felt necessary to sit down and do a little cleanup. And here's a 30-second clip or so, 30-second clip of her trying to do a little bit of cleanup.
So this is your first time speaking publicly since the now 2 viral videos. What do you want people to know about you, and do you have the temperament to be the next governor of California?
When I look at those videos, I want people to know that I understand that I could have handled things better. I think I'm known as someone who's able to handle tough questions, who's willing to answer questions, and I want people to know that I really value the incredible work that my staff can do. I think people who know me know I can be tough, but I need to do a better job expressing appreciation for the amazing work that my team does.
Well, the reporter went on to say, are there going to be any more videos of you blasting people that are going to be popping up here in the next few days or weeks? She refused to answer that question specifically. In fact, the reporter asked 2 more times, I think 3 more times, that same question in various forms, and Katie Porter would not answer the question, which seems to suggest to me, Mike, I think there's some more.
A lot.
There's some excellent video that's about to come out.
I'm sure.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Because I love seeing a politician that I loathe already politically implode.
I don't see her doing damage control. There's people behind the scenes probably advising them if they haven't quit already.
If I were her, if I were advising the Porter campaign, of course I'm not advising the Porter campaign, but if I were,
Please.
I would say double down on how you treated your staff and how you treated that CBS reporter, and basically play yourself up as a female Democrat leftist Trump.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's what I would do. In other words, embrace the suck. Embrace the fact that you are going on the offense. In fact, in that same interview, that little 30-second clip that we just played, she went on to say that she didn't want to run a campaign as usual. So that seems to indicate to me that she is, number one, not going to step down.
No.
She's going to continue running. Obviously, there's enough lunatics in the Bay, in Sacramento, and in Los Angeles that'll put her over. But she is not only doubling down, I think she should double down because she could run as the de facto Trump for the left.
Yeah.
Why not? And you know what's interesting? So obviously Trump changed a lot of dynamics when it came to running and when it came to being president. I think a lot of us found it refreshing that he pushed back the way he did. Sometimes he can be rude, but I think his rudeness tends to be more, congenial.
Yeah.
A little bit more lighthearted. It can get a little rough. I'm not saying that it can't. And for some people, it's off-putting. I get it. I understand. For me, it's totally not. I grew up around people very much like President Trump.
He has no filter.
Yeah, he has no filter, and I grew up around people like that, and it just never bothered me. But when you hear a woman act like that, and again, a woman is different. Let's just be honest. We understand on this show that God gave us two sexes, men and women,
Right.
and they are different. They handle things differently.
Sure.
And I remember seeing my mother get upset, but I would never see her do anything like this, or the women in my life when I was growing up act like Katie Porter. And I don't know the CBS interviewer from last week that got blasted by Porter, but I think, as far as CBS reporters go, I thought she handled herself really well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she was professional.
She was totally in the right.
Totally in the right.
You know, she had a job to do.
And they were softball questions,
Yeah.
Mike.
How can she run the state?
She can't. If she can't handle a little pushback from someone on her own side, then she can't handle running
I'm not
the
going
state.
to her house for dinner. I'll tell you that.
You don't want to
If
have
I
a
see potatoes on the
baked
stove,
potato.
I'm walking out.
Baked potato.
Yeah.
All right. We are now, what is it now? Almost 2 weeks now in the Schumer shutdown. And we're getting word that the Schumer shutdown cannot open government back up until after the 18th. And you're probably saying, well, what's going on October 18th? Well, it's the No Kings rally. There's 2,500 individual little No Kings rally that are being probably funded by the George Soroses of the world, and the lefty of the left and the progressives of the progressives are the ones that are going to go. I mean, you talking about lunacy. Wait till you see the pink, the purple, and the nose rings coming out this weekend. This is going to be great. And so the entire Democratic establishment is being held hostage by a small yet very vocal minority in the Democratic Party, and they are saying, you are not opening up the government until after the No Kings rally. Folks, as we're about to go to break, I want you to think about this. People on the left are always saying that Trump is beholden to the right. I don't know how much further right you can go than Trump. So, I mean, that's just ridiculous to even suggest that. But the fact of the matter is, Chuck Schumer is beholden to the Mondami crowd and the AOCs and the Ilhan Omars on his left. There are people to his left. They're so far left, folks, they're coming back around the globe. That's how far left they are.
And I think Schumer hops on because he has no choice, really.
He is hoping that he isn't primaried.
Yeah.
And that is what he's trying to avoid here by keeping the government shut down and keeping your pay, all your checks out there, at bay until after the No Kings rally. So the progressive gets it first. When we come back here, we're going to talk a little bit about the Charlie Kirk effect and how that effect is moving young people closer to religion when we return. All right, we're back here for our final segment of Politics in the Pulpit here on your hometown station. Just quickly wanted to run through those events that are happening this Friday and Saturday and Sunday. If you want to get on a street corner this coming Friday at the corner of McBean and Valencia between 3 o'clock and 5 p.m., and join other California patriots to encourage folks to vote no on Prop 50, then get over there to McBean and Valencia at 3 o'clock. Bring your no on Prop 50 signs. If you don't have one, I'm sure you'll be provided one, Lord willing. This Saturday, there's a Get Out the Vote with Senator Valadares and other community leaders, as folks are encouraged to walk the neighborhoods with no on 50 door hangers. You'll need to RSVP for this event, and you can go to Freedom Fighters of SCV on Facebook, and you can find that particular Facebook post, and then you'll see the little QR there where you can RSVP. And then this coming Sunday is Patriots in the Park. Elizabeth Allers running for Assembly, Oscar Martinez running for Sheriff, Denise Light running for City Council, and other individuals representing Turning Point USA. Yours truly will be there as well. And so encourage you to take part in these events that are coming up. Well, yesterday at the White House, it was a momentous day for Charlie Kirk, who was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. What's it, Medal of Honor, Medal of Freedom?
Medal of Freedom.
Medal of Freedom.
Yeah.
And his wife, of course, Erica, was the one who took that
She's
medal.
a very strong woman.
She is a very strong woman.
Yeah. I mean, to go through that and...
No doubt. And one of the things that people have been talking about post the tragic events of September 10th and Charlie's assassination is that some sort of revival is occurring. Now, I'm going to take issue with some of the talk of revival because biblically revival is number one. Revival is for the Christian. It's not for the pagan. It's a reviving of the Christian, of being in the doldrum of sleep, a Christian that is just not being fruitful. And that Christian needs reviving. And so I would take issue with the notion that we're in a, quote, revival. If you want to know about Christian revival, then you better read about the first awakening here in the United States or the second great awakening here under the preaching of Jonathan Edwards, George Whitefield, Charles Finney, and these guys. That was definitely a revival of huge magnitude. However, that is not to say nor to diminish the fact that there is I would say, at least a cultural Christian resurgence occurring, especially among the young. And for years, as a preacher myself, I kind of semi-lost faith in some of our young people, thinking that they have been consumed by our secular institutions like our universities and high schools. But the fact of the matter is, there is a clamoring for truth, for honest truth, with no frills, with no fog machines connected to it, just genuine truth. And there's an article in Red State, and there are several things that are mentioned in this article that I'd like to mention to you. It says, quote, "A Christian revival in America is underway." Now, again, I've already given you my thoughts about a Christian revival. I don't think it's a Christian revival, but I do think there is a resurgence of some things. And here are some interesting anecdotes to suggest here. Bible sales have been up since 2022, 41.6%, almost half.
Wow.
That's pretty good. Hopefully they're all King James Bibles out there. App downloads, that is, apps for music or apps for various Christian, what are those things called? What do you do tonight? What are you doing? Podcast. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of that word there. That happens on radio when you have a little bit of a brain freeze. But yeah, the app downloads for Christian podcast and podcast of that ilk is up 80%. That's huge. Christian music streaming, and I'm not a big fan of modern Christian music, but Christian music streaming is up 50%. I think those are good things. Yeah. I don't think that necessarily means revival in the genuine biblical sense, but it does definitely means a resurgence. At a time when America is wrestling with declining church attendance, and yes, prior to 2022, we saw church attendance decline, a surprising reversal among Gen Z, once labeled, quote, the least religious generation, has pastors and researchers talking about the possibility of a new revival. And I think these Gen Z men in particular have felt slighted, Mike, by the Democrats in particular because, they were, supposedly, if they acted like men, that was toxic masculinity. Mm-hmm. They needed to embrace their feminine side. And I think when they go to a church where the pastor is masculine, where the pastor is robust, where the preaching is biblical, I think these Gen Zers weren't getting from the political dogma they were being fed, but they are getting from Christian dogma. And so Gen Z men are attending church slightly more than millennial men, marking a generational reversal. The Barna Group, George Barna, who of course has been doing research for years, Barna Group's Vice President of Research, Daniel Copeland, said that most adults attend church around 2 out of every 5 weekends, but Gen Z is reversing that flow. This data represents good news for church leaders and adds to the picture that spiritual renewal is shaping Gen Z and millennials today.
Will church leaders adjust their message because of this now?
I don't think that's what Gen Z wants. I think they've always wanted honesty and straightforwardness.
Okay.
I don't think they got it from the political left, but I think they're getting it from certain pulpits. And I say hurrah to that, for that turnaround. And it's a good thing that came out of a very tragic event with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Next week, we'll have Patrick Lee Gibson, who ran for Assembly and Congress. He'll be talking about no on Prop 50 next week here in studio. We'll catch you same bat time, same bat channel. This is Pastor Cook saying thank you for tuning in to your hometown station.